what is character design? I start to ask myself, after even teaching and even without teaching, in the beginning, I was like, what is character design? Now, I have a habit, which is I really just get a knack of the topic, which I really want to learn first. I really need to know what the subject is all about before actually just going for it. And what is character design? I mean, it may sound very simple. It's the design of the character, right? But what is character? Yeah, it might seem straightforward. It's like, yeah, you just basically sit in your studio design characters. Well, that's just a part of it. I won't say it's not that, but it's a part of it. But it's just a part, right? You're sitting in studio designing characters. Um, I admire Glenn Keane a lot. So I don't know if you know Glenn Keane, but he's oh, wait a second. Yeah, I don't know if you know Glenn Keane, but like he is termed as an awesome like the legendary Disney animator, basically. So he said, and he's actually the man behind. If you don't know the name, it's fine, but you've definitely seen this man's work, right? So Glenn actually brought life into Beast, from Beauty and the Beast, and I'm talking about like the Disney Renaissance time, it's in the 70s and 80s and 90s, this time I'm talking about. So Glenn brought life to Beast, right? The Beauty and the Beast. He was supervising animator for that. He designed Tarzan, and he also supervising animator for that as well. He designed Pocahontas, again the supervising animator, not to mention, and he worked on a lot of other like Red Ariel, like in Little Mermaid. So he is the king, right, of the Renaissance, era of the Disney. So, well, the thing is, when he was designing Beast, like that's one of my favorite parts, which is, he said the characters already exist. Them, all I just need to do is explore them, like just to find them. And he said, you spend enough time with your character, and they're gonna introduce themselves one day and pop up and say, "Whoa, here I am!" Right? That's exciting, right? That's an exciting analogy to me, which is they exist before you drew them. So all you just need to do is just find them, right? Find and explore them. And for that purpose, you need to go all places. To be a great character designer, to be great at anything, you cannot just like sit in your four walls, right? You cannot sit in your studio and do all the work. You need to go outside. You need to go outside. You need to explore. You need to read the books. You need to go and sketch, at different places. You need to explore. You need to talk to people. You need to act. You need to communicate. uh, you need to explore places. You need to explore history, right? This is all a part of to be a great artist, just I would say artist, not just a character designer, but for everything, like whatever you do, right? So you just need to have that in control. Okay. Glenn Keane is the OG. Gossip said Glenn Keane is the OG. Oh, that facts, man, facts. All right. Wait, who's saying something? First said, that's true. Glenn Keane's really was inspired by sculptures from streets in Paris. Yes, exactly. While he was designing Tarzan, he was just like roaming on the bike in France, and just designing like he's looking up for these like sculptures, like where he can see Tarzan, and he actually find the Tarzan design in like one of those sculptures, right? So that's interesting. Exactly, just like for a second, just and what I'm saying is like you need to explore out. I hate being at home. That's my nemesis. I just hate being at home. I just need to go out and explore, and that's what I like. And then and gather your own references. Gather your own references, make your own references. If you're always searching on Pinterest and Google and on internet or whatever online, that's not going to teach you. Right. You need to go out. You need to draw things around you. Right. Doesn't matter like how boring or messy your room is. My room is very messy, but you'll always find something interesting. Okay. All right. So, well, coming back to like what is character design is, I'm just gonna reveal it a little by little. First of all, storytelling. Like I said, you are telling stories, and your characters need to tell story, right? Without a story, it doesn't exist. Like you doesn't exist, I don't exist, right? We don't exist without stories. I have my backstories, right? You have your backstory. Somebody else, like everybody existing in this world has a backstory, even an animal, right? So you can't ignore the fact that you need stories for your characters. Okay, talking specifically about designs. That is what it is, right? It exists because the story exists. Okay, so storytelling, and then you're telling stories through the character. What are movies basically, or what are these videos that we're looking at, or what are these shows? It's a situation happening with those characters, and that is what we are showing, right? So on a very simple level, this is what it is, right? That's the first thing, storytelling. Okay, you need to tell stories through those characters. Whether good or evil must have an appeal. So here we are kind of entering into this drawing room of space where I'm saying, okay, it should have an appeal. Now, appeal comes from all these technical like drawing abilities, which is that there's one thing which I'll talk about, but there's most of the things are just like, okay, you need to have good shapes, you need to know this, you need to know that, you need to know whatever skills like that we are going to discuss further. The one thing I was talking about, which is kind of separate from all of these, is the feel, right? You need to feel your character. You need to be your character, okay, in order to perform at the best. I mean, think about some of the best characters. I can think about, let's say, Heath Ledger, right? Joker. So, well, these people are not joking, right? They are the character. They're not acting them. They are the character. They have become characters. Those characters, not to act, but they're actually living that situation. They're not acting, right? So Heath Ledger's great performance of Joker in The Dark Knight. So if you have any research about this character, the Joker that Heath Ledger played, he used to be in that character. Like he locked himself in this room, and when many people do, not many, I would say, but very few actors do this, but they do this method that's called method acting, right? So they lock themselves in this room or whatever, and they just like live the character. They would dress up like that. They would talk like that. They would act with other people like that if there's an interaction. Especially in Heath Ledger's case, he didn't interact with anybody for 2 months. He just locked himself, and he used to carry a diary, like a Joker diary, right? Where he used to write things and laugh and, practice laughing and all of these kind of things, or, whatever. So that's what he's doing. And we have all seen his performance, right? Rest in peace. So it's a great, great, great performance, right? Like it's the one performance that like people would remember for centuries. So that is it, whether good or evil, it must be an appeal. Don't see only as heroes or good characters as, okay, we need to make it very appealing, but also evil characters or whatever type of character you are, your character is, right? Now, character design, I have to bring in one more point here. Character design is not just drawing characters, right? If you're working in a Hollywood film, or work whatever film that you're working in, if you're working in filmmaking, and you are the, I don't know, a director or you're an actor, uh, you are designing yourself. Like if you're an actor, you're designing a character yourself. If you're a director, you're making the actor design the character, right? So it's that part that you need to know. Everybody is a character, okay? You need to consider yourself as a character to actually make characters, okay? All right. Next. Might be confusing in nature, but never a cliche. Characters are clear. C and C, right? Characters are clear. So they might be confused, whatever the nature is, but it should never be a cliche. Like the character should be very um motivated, towards whatever they're doing. If it's an evil character, they should be motivated about, I don't know, unaliving people, right? Or whatever kind of villain they are and whatever business they're doing. They should be very clear about what they are doing in this world. Okay. Let's say we, right, like we in this living in this real world, um we know exactly what we are doing. I mean, yeah, we might get confused sometimes, like, oh, I don't really understand what to do in this situation, but that doesn't take away your clarity out of it. Okay. So we know we have to live, and there's certain situations, but we need to get out of it, right? Or we have to enjoy, or we have to work hard in this situation, or whatever you're doing. You should be clear about, yes, whatever you're doing. So your characters have to be very clear, not a cliche. Okay. So when you're designing them, it's all your study in one design, right? Aliveness. So characters, you study a lot of things, for that particular character. We'll be discussing skills, that you need to have to design very good characters, though. So it's basically all you're studying like one design. For example, let's say you're making an animal character, okay? So you will be studying that animal. You'll be studying if you put clothes on top of that animal, how it's gonna look like, right? So you're gonna study clothing. You're gonna study what the character is living in, like the world that the character is living in. It might not be belonging from Earth, altogether. It might be from some distant planet or another universe or just entire whatever, right? Um, so you need to study, right? You need to study those things. For example, it involves everything. For example, I am making an alien. Now I'm saying, okay, go out and study. You cannot go into space and study. Maybe you can, I don't know. There's enough power and money. But not for now, at least. We're considering it as a no-no. So you need to see the space documentaries. You need to go and watch like these astronauts and how they're living in space, and how they're surviving in there, what kind of food they eat, and then it will give you inspiration to design some sort of character for space. Okay, don't go for what's existing, go for something new. You might take inspiration from the existing designs, but what you need to know is you need to make something different, right? That's when you consider it as a great character designer. We will be talking about greatness, guys, okay? We'll not be talking about I don't know, how to be a general character designer like nobody cares about, right? Because the skills that you'll be gaining in this 5-week workshop, I think it would be just awesome, right? Because you will be unlocking pro secrets, just like I said, into my reel, right? Um, so this is what pros do, right? They don't, just like it says, they don't sit in a studio. They go out, they do study, right? They don't go into space when they want to. They don't go in space. That's what I'm saying. They don't go in space, but at least they try to be as close as possible to that experience. I don't know if there's something available and like near to you. Let's say maybe there's an adventure part where you can have that. I forget the name of that ride, but there's like these massive fans and you just kind of like float around. Maybe that's the nearest experience you can get to in terms of space. So if you don't feel your characters and like how your character is gonna let's say you're making a character who's lost in space. If you don't feel like that character, well, it's never gonna come into your work. Okay. So Mike always says, Mike Montesi, I'm working with drawingforge.com. I really love one of his thoughts, and I love many of his thoughts, but this is like really inspiring for me all the time, which he, I don't know, utters many times in our streams and in our education, everywhere, and which is your drawing is only as good as your ideas, right? Maybe I can make a change. I can say here, your design is good as your ideas, which means you need to have a sense of what you're doing. So if you have an idea that might show up in your work, and that depends if it shows in your work, like that really depends on your experience. That really depends how serious you are about that idea. So if you want that idea, you're gonna put it right there, in your design. Uh, think about just you as a beginners. Many of you might be beginners who might be just starting out in whatever, in just drawing also. But if you are serious about something, put that in. Okay. So let's say I'm teaching character design right now. If I say, do this, make an evil character, like you have that idea, you are making an evil character. You want it to be cruel. You want it to be that villainous approach, right? So this is the idea that I plugged into your mind. I'm gonna put that into your work. Okay. So that's for sure. That's one thing. So it's all your studies. It's all your studies, and I can add another thing, which is all your experiences gathered into one. Okay. All right, and it exists before you draw them, just like you said, with Glenn Keane quote, which is like I just discovered my characters. They exist before I drew them. It's basically the same thing. And that is it, right? So I mean, there may be more. I'm just trying to like boil down to these like very, very important factors. What is character design? For you, the definition of the character design could be so much more different, right? For me, it could be so much more different. But at the end of the day, we all agree to a certain point is that it is basically the results of your studies and your experiences. And that's it. That is all character design, right? So let's see. So why this workshop is different? Like, I want to make it a point because I don't want you to feel like, oh, that's another character design tutorial I can buy, and just do it, and well, voila, there we go, and just learn character design. So, for you guys, you can put in the chat, what do you think is required to design a character? For example, you might be, and I know one of the answers would be anatomy. It's like, oh, I need to know anatomy right before I draw characters. It's not, uh, or maybe it's not completely true. It's half truth. You need to know anatomy. Arpit said, understanding of shapes. I know, right? Imagination. Mantavya said imagination. Imagination. Hmm. I don't know. I just don't believe it. Like all, I always think, like I said, character design is always a result, especially character design, like everything is, but especially character design is a product of your experiences and your studies. So the more you draw from life, the more experiences you gather, the more experiences you draw, not just have it in your mind, the better your character design becomes. So imagination of yes, it is. It is a part of it, but it's not completely that, at least in my views. All of the above, Kaustubh said all of the above and a bit of feel, facial expressions, feel, body poses, line of action. Yeah, these are like very specific things, for example, like line of action, body poses. I would say Sudendra said facial expression. That's a big one, Um not just expression. We have you heard something? I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody has heard about like body expression, right? Body language, right? Body language is what? We are expressing ourselves through bodies, through the poses we feel. If you are going for like a very sad mood, for example, I'm just gonna draw here. I don't have an example here, but I'm just gonna draw here. If you have like a very sad expression, it might be that. I'm definitely exaggerating, by the way. You know, might be like super sad, just like the face and the body's kind of bending. It's very slouchy, it's very loose, right? So that becomes your body language, right? The hands in the pocket and you're just like feeling like super sad. Maybe it's raining. So these are the things that are that depicts the sad mood, right? That depicts the sadness and the expression like through the body. You don't see even here, I'm not even showing the face expression. So how am I communicating this that this person is sad, or this person might be confident. So I'm not gonna draw no expressions, but I'm just showing it through my body, right? Through the body language.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
My question is that how to enter in the industry in concept art, illustration and filmmaking. मतलब concept art में कैसे enter कैसे करें, मतलब start कहाँ से करें, यहाँ पे बहुत confusion है.
No, that's a very good question. We'll be discussing a few skills, that you need to become a character designer because it's a character design workshop, but the fundamentals are the same. If I really want to quickly give this answer, you need to know your basics right, okay? And the basics for concept art, like that also depends. If you are going for the environment concept art, that is different. If you're going for character concept art, that is different. And then it depends on style. Let's say if you're going for visual development, that's also called concept art, right? But then you need to make more stylized walls, okay? And for that, you need to know perspective, you need to know colors, you need to know shape design, you need to know forms, you need to know gesture a little bit, right? You need to sketch a lot. And so that is just for visual development, right? Many of the things are common in all of them, but many of the things would be different also. Okay, for a character, for example, you need to know anatomy. You need to know the gesture very, very well. For environment design, you might not need anatomy as much as detailed as for the character design. Okay, so so these are the things that you require. Now, what kind of concept art may I ask? Like you want to go for environment or characters or both?
Both, both.
Yeah, so
जैसे कि हम लोग को नॉलेज होती जाती है कि गेमिंग में भी जा सकते हैं और प्री प्रोडक्शन में भी जा सकते हैं, पोस्ट प्रोडक्शन में भी जा सकते हैं, फिर धीरे धीरे हम लोग इंडस्ट्री को जानना चाहते क्या ये एक जर्नी की तरह है कि डायरेक्ट हम लोग अगर कॉन्सेप्ट आर्ट बनना है तो कॉन्सेप्ट आर्टिस्ट ही बन सकते हैं?
No, no, no. You cannot be a concept artist directly, because see, let's say you're making a project, you've invested $1 million into it, okay? Like why you will give a concept art, like something as big as concept art to a guy who just entered the industry. Like you don't want that. You will be giving it to the polished people who are having this experience, like 20, 30 years of experience, right? At least I would say 10 years of experience. So you cannot directly enter the concept art industry. In India, especially, it's very, very difficult. So all you can do is enter it into this kind of like a gaming art. If you're going for games or animation, if you're going for gaming art, just go for the game art purpose, and then you will slowly and slowly you'll get to that concept art level. Okay. And then if you're going for animation, go into background designing because that is what's most closely resemble the concept art in the animation. And then slowly and slowly just develop your slowly and slowly develop your portfolio and you'll get there, right? Yeah. So you need to breathe life into your characters. And just like I said, and what you don't want to do is this, right? Bad character designs. Um, yeah, what can I say now? What defines a bad character design? To know what a good character design looks like, you need to look at the bad character designs, right? Bad character designs could be like lifeless character designs. This is just one example over here that I could find. I couldn't find any other bad character designs. So yeah, this one is a bad example of a character design, right? Because they're symmetrical. They don't feel like they have life to them. They just feels like they are just dead. You just like pasted two eyes, on the pieces of block and these primitives, right? Not the best. Not even good. So so you need to breathe life into your characters and you need force concepts. Arpit says, hello, Mritunjay. I aspire to be an animator while I follow animators who use sketchy, loose lines. I prefer the force approach. Arpit, have you seen the sketches? Force sketches are always loose. However, I struggle to apply its flowy gesture-driven style in my animations, though I can approach it and figure it right. Um, for you, I think Arpit, you need to watch Glenn Keane. No, Glenn Keane again. Just watch like how he's using those force lines, force line approach, and he's just going into that animation, right? Basically. So watch Glenn Keane, okay? Glenkeane, like Glenn Keane. You know how this works, like how the whole approach of like force figure drawing works with the animation. Mike himself worked on Lion King. hmm. So it's literally that purpose, like all the force, like why we're all sitting here today, why I'm having this workshop, why you guys are here today. It's just because Mike developed this like through his animations. The first job he gets at the age of 21, I guess, like is at Disney, and the first project he worked on is the Lion King, right? He worked on young Simba. And if you look at the Force book, I don't have it here. I have like another Force character design book, right over here. But if you watch the like first Force book, it says, dynamic light drawing for animators. So you need to watch people from like pre-digital era, like how they're using like Force drawings to animate. Okay. All right. We'll be learning to do the same, right? For sure. In the 5-week workshop, I think it would be like enough time to introduce you to like all the concepts. We're gonna go through the like a little bit of force basics, and then we're gonna go into like force shape design, which is the primary like the core to rule it all together. Okay. I'll be giving you step by steps. So every week would be a new topic. I'm not gonna reveal it all together. I'm not gonna spoil it for you guys, but every week will be a new topic. Okay, so yeah, we'll be working on for like new topic every week, and you'll be getting homeworks, assignments also. Yeah, I'll be giving you assignments as this is basically what you want to do. You will be getting your own characters, like you will be able to write a story and design your own characters in the workshop. Okay. So, manual work is more important, or can digital only, or both? Um, it's a very good question again. Manual work. So basically, Shashank is saying, is manual important or digital or both? Both are important, right? Yes, we cannot deny the fact that traditional drawing is like really powerful. I have transferred from traditional to digital in a week. Like, so I was having this like tablet, like a Wacom tablet, and it just took me like a week for a week or so to transfer all my skills, to this. And Photoshop, I've learned it a few weeks also, right? So it doesn't really matter. Digital is just a medium, just like let's say you're using a pencil and then an ink pen or then you're transitioning into paint. Digital is the same way. It's just the medium switching. Okay. So nothing is important. I mean, both are important, I guess. And traditional is just, it's harder, right? Because you don't have an undo button. You cannot erase. You cannot have layers, right? It's just more harder. So if you're a traditional drawer, your digital would be so awesome. The other way doesn't work as much, I would say, because if someone is like super good at digital, it would take longer for them to transition to traditional drawing, like digital I'm talking about. But if you're a traditional drawer, then just awesome, to transition to digital and just like working in this like whole new set of world, basically. So it's not one more important, not like one is more important than the other. We have to go for the industry also. We have to walk by the industry. We have to go by the modernization. So digital is very, very important these days. Even 3D, I have to say, like in the age of AI, 3D has make its way into it's not a luxury anymore. It's not a bonus anymore, but it's like the need now. So you might need to learn some 3D as well. Okay. Uh, sir, can I add my traditional sketches to my portfolio? Yes, in fact, most of the studios they want to see your sketchbook. Because see, like portfolio, for example, you can be preparing that in years. You can be like taking 2 to 3 full years and making a portfolio. But you don't have 2 to 3 years to work on a sketch. You don't have a 2 to 3 years to work on a design, right? So they might get impressed, by your portfolio by just like all of this, but they're never gonna ask you like how much time did it take. What they want to see is like what you can do right at this spot. So they'll be giving you, I mean, they won't be giving you, that's not gonna happen in an interview, but they just have this in mind. If I give this person a topic and I'm paying him so much or whatever they're paying you, I need ideas. I need to have ideas in a few minutes, right? If you can give me, that's what I want. So many of the colleges, if you search for it, by the way, they are asking for sketchbooks. Okay, they want to see your sketchbooks. If you go and type it in like sketchbook portfolios, like success rates or whatever, you're gonna be finding a lot of these videos where people are showing their portfolios, right? And the sketchbooks also. So yes, definitely do add your traditional sketches to your portfolio. I want to ask if character designer is a good career to pursue in India, or is it well, I won't be able to tell you because it's up to you. This is like one very important problem, by the way, guys. Don't go for like what's out there. Like just do what you love. Like this is what brought me here. Say, for example, I'll give my own example. I love figure drawing, right? Like, and when I graduated out of college, I mean, I was not like roaming around and searching for things that I wanted to do or I'm not confused. But I was having one confusion in mind, which is like, what do I do with the figure drawing skills that I have? Nobody's doing that in India. And I mean, it's not like I just want to enter into fine art industry and try my luck over there selling the paintings and such. But I did win for what I love. But I also had a backup plan, which is the concept art, right? So I was doing concept art, but I was also practicing my figure drawings. And then after like all that work, after all that hard work, Mike pays me off, right? With making me an instructor on drawingforge.com, right? I can't believe, sometimes still to this day that I'm working with one of the greatest draftsmen of our times. Uh, so it's that. Don't do what the industry says. Do what you love. Like look at it the other way. Look at the other side of the coin. If that is something, that field is something like many few are approaching, well, you are a very few in that particular race, and maybe you're the alone in that particular race. Then you are the one to win. So see it in that uh, viewpoint, right? Don't do what the industry said. Do what you love, and that's when you can enjoy your career. Okay, this doubt has been mustering up between since a long time. So yeah, Manikrit, yeah, do what you love, right? That's what my point is. But it's not like digital artists are born with pen tablets. Yes, exactly. But it's like where they're polishing their skills. Are they polishing more of their skills in software side of things or the traditional side of things? Can an artist develop his own character style along the way as he's working in the industry? Yes, exactly. Uh, just like Tanishta said, nobody's born with a pen tablet. Nobody's born with a style either, right? The style is again the experiences you gather, right, from existing artists, and it's a new mix of that. I don't want to, yeah, deem you guys about this, but this is like one thing that I need to tell in every workshop, which is style. You cannot create a new style. Yeah, to be honest, like brutally straight away, spitting facts, you cannot create a style. All you can do is you can create a new combination of the existing styles. Okay. So all the styles that we are looking at today, nobody has created those styles. It's just a new mix of different styles in a new package way. I'm not saying that's easy. It's very difficult. It came from like years and years of experience and painstaking hard work, but it's a combination of the pre-existing styles, right? That's what you need to accept, basically. Yes, you can develop your own style working in the industry. Style is what? Style is just your experiences again. By loose and sketchy approach, I mean anime. Their style is very different, I think. Loose and sketchy, anime are not. No, they're not as loose and sketchy as let's say something like Disney characters are a bit. If you could share your process when you get character idea popping into your head, yes, I'll do it. All right. Studying from old artwork, copying them from learning basic Frank Frazetta and Jim Lee and more. Yes. Yeah. I mean, pre-existing artists, that's what I'm saying. Like we need to we need to study from masters and we need to study from all of us, right? Like for example, uh you guys will be submitting the artwork to me in the 5 week workshop thing right at the end. I will be studying your style, right? So if I look at it, your style, if I give a feedback on that one, that style would be in my mind. So if you have like a kind of different new style, whatever, that will stay into my mind, and that will show into my work. If I like it, if I was like, oh yes, I remember that student's work, and he brought like great style, like this thing, and this is what they're doing different. I'm gonna bring it to my work. So this is how it works basically. Would AI take away jobs? Maybe like after we all dead. It's gonna take long. No, don't worry about it. Um, Okay, so Wise Workshop is different, right? Like, so bad character designs. These are character designs by Swendy Benelia. Swendy Benelia is a concept artist and a character designer. Like, he's working professionally from like past 20 years, in the industry. And he's working with me. He's also a Force drawing instructor. He's working with us on drawingforce.com. So that's there goes like his character design. So that is what a good character looks like, right? Lively, expressive. It just feels like I can just feel like I can animate this character because it's so clear, right? It's so simple. It's right there in front of my eyes. Okay. Expressions, like not to mention, with the body language, if you are mixing up the expressions, if you have like great expression drawings, then that's a top up, right? Like that's a bonus basically, right? All right. So let's get into what makes an awesome character, right? Now we have seen some examples, of the awesome characters by Swan Lee. So we're gonna look at like what makes up an awesome character. Not to mention story, right? Need to have a story. Now here's my way of doing things. Okay, let's have a look like what makes up a good character. Then I'll explain my analogy of designing characters. Your research. Don't We have actually discussed this, don't sit in your studio and just like tick 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 now boom 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 right there. Now Google transfer this here and just like begin drawing a character. You need to have an experience with the character, right? What the character does, you need to do that if you can though, right? Let's say if a character kills people, you don't want to do that, but that's what makes a good character. Like you at least need to like research about maybe murderers, right? Like, yes, I'm doing this, but that's what make a good character. You need to research about your characters. Okay. How we are connected the character with his its or her story. This is actually very important because in many films, a very recent film, by the way, if you are aware, Joker 2 is here, right? Fall Ducks, right? That's the title. Not a very good character motivation in the movie, right? Like I was so excited, Joaquin Phoenix, like awesome performance, right? I was so excited, just like all the Batman Joker fans, and we are all disappointed, right? Because of the the lack of the motivation of the character, right? So they have the backstory. Harley Quinn has her backstory. Joker has his backstory, but they're not connected with it, in the movie. We don't find that in the movie. So even if your character has all the story, if you're making a character with all the story, imagine like you got all the stories, right? You got everything in your character. But then the acting, the performance, or the how you're presenting the character, that might not reflect all of that studies, okay, all of that experience. So yeah, it's like how well your character is connected with the backstory, right? That's what you need to know. And then we are entering into this like kind of a technical side of things, which is like in drawing per se, like what is the most or what are the important things that what makes up a great character, let's say. Appealing shapes, okay? We're gonna look at some of the characters here. For example, like maybe even here, like Johnny Bravo, right? He has a lot of appealing shapes. He has like a lot of simple shapes in here. Let's see if I start to break this down. This is how it looks like. Like that is just one shape, and that's just another shape, right? Together, right? These are the two shapes that makes up the whole body of the character in this particular pose right there. Okay. So if I outline this, see if I can get the pose of that particular character. So look at how simple that shape is, right? But that's defining the whole body language of the character. And on top of that, we would have legs for sure. Let's see, something like this, right? So even just looking at this, I don't care about Johnny Bravo here, but even if I look at this, I was like, okay, look at that particular character. Right? He is in such an attitude, right? This character is a character with attitude, right? That's what I get out of this. Even let it be any character, not Johnny Bravo, but let it be any character that screams confidence to me, right? That seems attitude to me, okay? Just like Johnny is, in his performance, in his shows. Um, Ursula, right? Ursula from Little Mermaid, just awesome, awesome character. And why she's an octopus rather than a mermaid? I mean, they could have made her like very heavy like this, and she might be like that and like a very heavy character. Now look at all of these kind of like spiky hair, right? Imagine Ariel has those spiky hairs. Like that would be so, I don't know, like would make a anti-Ariel, all of a sudden. Right. So the reason why she has these spikes and everything, like that is a part of her story. She's a villainous character, okay? And all of her shapes also. So we need to have like clear shapes. We need triangles, right? Triangles are the one that's giving dangerous feeling, right, to the characters. While when you have like maybe a rounded character, that would be welcoming, that would be smooth, that would be happy characters, that would be cute characters. Imagine like for children, like they would never create like characters with super sharp shapes, that children won't like. They would need like a very soft characters. Like imagine all the teddy bears that we buy, all the soft toys we buy. All of a sudden we have a character like Ursula where, you have this, in the hair. Not a very good choice, right? So the thing is, you need to focus on the shapes. Shapes is what makes up the character in this drawing part of things, in this like technical side of things, which is like you need to have appealing shapes in order to draw your characters. Okay. So you need to be aware of these shapes. Anyways, I was just saying, Ursula, maybe she's like a very heavy character, but they could have given her a tail, like this also, just like Ariel. Maybe a sharp kind of tail. And I've seen like Ursula's like previous designs also. Yeah, well, I've seen like Ursula's like previous designs also. And they were actually talking about a tail, like giving her a tail, like a sharp tail. She'd be like more villainous and everything. But then, like, octopus, that would be amazing. It's more otherworldly. It's like it looks very villainous. It's just a villain, of the scene. So that's what the thing is. Now we need to give her something different from what the Ariel is, as much as we can, right? As much difference as we can give to her. So that's why octopus, right? So appealing shapes, that is what I meant by it. We can describe other. Here's Ariel, right? And I can take Ariel and I can just give her some spiky hairs, right? Like this. Whoa, all of a sudden she starts to look a little, I don't know, just a little sharp. Obviously, we are adding like sharp shapes to her head, but
Threatening.
then, yeah, exactly. Right. Now I would give her, instead of these like very cute eyelashes, I would give her this like very heavy brows, something like that. And then almost just makes her like a villain, just changing her expression. Might be some very sharp hairs, and would make her fins like really sharp, like this. She's like that, like scissors. So what we are doing here, right? We are changing the shape design of the character. Now, a character that is meant to be like very cute and very very curious girl. She wants to get into this another world, right? I remember this amazing song, and here, part of that world, right? Want to be part of that world. So we are changing this like kind of a very curious girl into this like very villainous, very sneaky girl all of a sudden. All right. So yeah, you have seen an example like we are just like turning like one character into the other, right? And that smile now is becoming like a villainous smile, like a very sneaky villainous smile. Okay. Uh, Minions, right? Now we have definitely seen like this was like one of my favorite characters. The creator of the Minion has Thumb as the inspiration, by the way, and if you don't know. And we have anti-minions as well, right? Like those purple minions, if you have seen. Um, that is those minions, right? So you have, let's see if I can like bring one in here really quick. In time minions, we'll see like the difference, between those uh evil minions, right? So copy and paste, right? So this is one of them, you see. And again, we can see there's some like the tooth is coming out, right? They have this like very weird expression, that the color is different. They have these like spiky hairs, that definitely tells like the sharpness. It's like a bush, like a very sharp bush. Like imagine you're making a bush and you're making a bush like this. It's like, children would make. It's like this. With some like flowers in. And then all of a sudden you're making a bush which looks like that. So that automatically screams uh the bush screams, go away from me, don't come near to me. Just go away, right? I'm danger to you. So that's the power of shapes, right? You need to have appealing shapes and you need to be aware of the shape design, in your characters. Okay. Toothless, right? So different types of shapes, different types of shapes what makes different types of characters, right? Doraemon, right? So a character solely made for children. We all love all love it, but it's solely made for children. It's very soft, and it's not sharp. Like imagine Doraemon with I don't know, like cat ears. So he's a cat, right? And I think I've seen like there's a mini Doraemon, I think, or some part of the Doraemon which is like that. But imagine like it's like that, just giving it like super sharp, like and simple. Like these are like simple claws, right? I'm not like making them very realistic or anything like that. So I'm not like entering into this stylistic zone where you can say, oh, that cannot exist on Doraemon. But like imagine if I can do that. That is simple that we can apply that in over here, even in the like foot over here. And all of a sudden I have this like it's kind of like Batman eyes, let's say. So I'm giving it like a sharp look, overall, right? So he's like this. Maybe he's having like I don't know, dark eyes, you know, and then maybe nose like really sharp. See, like a very sharp nose like that. It's like that. And I can make the I can bring in some teeth in here, you know. Wow, just the abomination, right? The abomination of the Doraemon's character. Just like that, you know. All of a sudden, we are just literally grabbing those like shapes and we're just making them sharper. I'm not doing anything at all. You still recognize that as a Doraemon, but like a villainous Doraemon all of a sudden. All right, so shapes. Shapes defines it all. I have one more here. Let's see. Yeah, these are I was just talking about shapes, see like how the Shrek, that we all know, and this is like the early design for the Shrek. So the new Shrek, not the Shrek, but the current Shrek, it's all round, right? It's a little bit welcoming, just like the character, So he's a villain, but he is still welcoming, right? So we just need to like have those designs. And here, in the other Shrek design, you can see like how the shape is, the shape is like that. See, the shape is like this. It's kind of a sharper shape design, that yeah, that doesn't give like the whole feeling of the Shrek that we all know, right? So they changed the design and all together. And then in the end, we would have the harmonious and contrasted design and the simplicity of it. See, our characters can be super realistic. Maybe Iron Man. Let's say let's say Iron Man. Look, they design Iron Man. Stanley designed Iron Man. But it's simple. It's simple. It's just a simple story. What I mean by simplicity is not by the details that you watch in the character. You're like, oh, wow, now how it can be so simple. And I just saw such a detailed character. I'm not talking about the details that you're looking at it. I'm talking about the simplicity of the story of the character. I'm talking about the simplicity of the actions of the characters and like what the motivation of the character is. That's what I'm talking about. Even in design, I would just say if you break down any great character, in the end, it's just going to come out simple, It's going to be like this, like the body here. Okay, he is a superhero, right? So he needs to have this like bulky body, right? I cannot give like a superhero like a thin, frail, I don't know, like where you would see the ribs here, right? I cannot give a that kind of a body to a superhero. If you remember, like in Spider-Man, when he gets his powers before that he used to be very tail and frame, but then they buffed the body, right? Because that character is not gonna look, that character is not gonna look like a superhero if you don't build the body, right? You need to have some sort of like uh that particular body type when you're going for a hero or a villain, right? Or worse, they didn't make the character like super heavy. Like imagine Spider-Man like being super heavy. Like he can't do all those sort of things. He cannot swing through the city. He cannot climb. He can't do anything, if he's heavier. So that shape, right? Like that shape, that simpleness, if that's a word, that simpleness is what defines those characters. Like, yes, it's a superhero. He needs to have a better body build, He's a villain, He kills people, he unalives people. So he needs to have this like superpower, and then that's why we give him this kind of a body. Uh, that's how he's gonna look dominant over the others when he enters the scene. Okay. Like imagine minions, you never take minions as superheroes. Like never ever, right? You cannot take minions as superheroes because they're not that body type. Simple as that. You can convert them to superheroes. For example, you can give them suit or like costumes, or you can give them that attitude and performance. Um, but I don't know, in front of Batman or Superman or Spider-Man, I don't know if you consider Minion as a superhero, right? They can be superhero in their own roles, for example. Hmm? So that is it, right? Like simplicity and the straightforwardness of it. I can literally just write over here slash straight. I'm a little bit bad at typing. Straightforward, s- straightforward nature, right? The simplicity of him. All right. What is? Oh no. Wait a second. I just need to put it up here. Yeah, the taskbar suddenly drops down. Somebody singing something. Let's see. Do you guys have any question about it? We have discussed a lot. I really love Into Spider-Verse Kingpin design. Yes. Game characters are detailed. Yeah, Manikaran. Again, I don't mean the visual detail. I just meant, their story, their motivation is simple, right? That's what I want to know. And even just like I said, if even if you break down the physicality of it, it's really simple right at the end, So if I take like a game character and if I turn it down, they're still this, right? Inside their clothing and this all these detailed whatever they're wearing or anything like that, they're still human. That's what I'm saying. Either female, right, or male, or something like that. Great things are always simple. Winston Churchill said, "Great things are always simple." Let's see. What is everyone saying? Why are movie characters simple while game characters are simple, but both leaves an impression on you? Movie characters simple while game characters are simple, but both leave an impression. Um, let's say for example, you're cooking something, right? Let's say you're cooking I don't know, some rice, let's say rice and curry, right? Um, we say like in India, we say khichdi, right? So you don't make a khichdi out of anything, which khichdi means like you basically have everything in there. So a simple dish is always blesses us, always blesses our taste buds. But the complicated ones, if you put everything in there, imagine like putting in cold drinks in there, putting in into something. Let's say you're making a curry, right? You won't pour cold drink in there. Why? It's a taste, right? Sweet taste. We all love sweet taste, and it's a very dominant taste. That billions of people like love it. But why don't we have that in curry, for example, right? So you cannot like have everything. If you can, you don't have. You necessarily don't have to. That's what I'm saying, right? So they leave the impression because of their story. Like for example, like let's say why we all love Iron Man, right? Because of his story, his sacrifice, right? It's not about like his our details in the armor, or it's not about like what color he is, right? Yeah, he's red and all this like metal shiny character. But imagine if he's a matte character, like let's say his suit is kind of a matte character suit, that doesn't change the story, altogether. We would still love him as much as we love him because of all of that, right? So it's not the detail, like the visual details of the characters, like all just behind, like in their mind, their acting, their performance, their story, and their situation, right? And what decisions they are making in that particular situation that makes them a great character, right? How does symmetry work out with minions? Every character is symmetrical, most or at least most of them. Like they're standing in the front, they're all symmetrical. Um, and I wouldn't consider minions as a dynamic character because they're never meant to be, right? Minions are meant to be cute and simple. Just like Dorman, for example. Like Dorman is not a dynamic character. It's all their story again. So Tanisha asks, how does Metro work out with minions? So the thing is, when you're designing like minions in the three quarters view, or just let's say making a pose in the three quarters view, let's say it's like this, right? This is how the minion looks like, basically, like a beanbag. So again, you are basically encountering with the asymmetricalness of it, right? So it's a difference, It's if you wanted a character to be dynamic, for example, like Robin from Teen Titans Go, right? Or Samurai Jack from like Jack from Samurai Jack, right? Basically, these characters are meant to be dynamic. So if you want like a very simple character, you can have a very simple character. You can give it symmetricalness, but it's just that you need to be aware that, or you need to be told by the art director or your director that it needs to be simple. We need symmetry in there, or we need asymmetry in there. Like imagine any Spider-Man from Spider-Verse movie, like all these amazing Spider-Mans in there. It is not meant to be a simple, it is not meant to be a very static character, right? So what do we want? We just want stylization in there. We want like that dynamism in there. So they're never meant to be designed symmetrical. Okay. Let's see. What's everybody saying? How do character designers tackle the problem of cultural appropriation of their characters belong to certain ethnicity? Man, I don't know if I can answer that. They definitely like do their research, that's for sure. Uh, and they don't go to these places where there's like a lot of problems, with the ethnicity of the culture, basically. So that's the reason I think nobody made a AAA game on India. Like all these big studios, they're doing their business in India, but they never try to make one because of the cultural ethnicity and how sensitive our country is in terms of culture and yeah, all of that. Sort of answer good research and multiple drafts of approval. Yes, exactly. You can make anyone offend, by not doing your proper research. So, for example, like one of my favorite games is it used to be at least, not anymore, but Assassin's Creed, right? And the Origins, I really like Origins, not because of I like the Egyptian culture, like their ancientness, and I like ruins and all these like landscapes and everything. It's not the best game, but I like it. Uh, why? Why? And okay, let's leave Assassin's Creed. Let's say Black Myth Wukong, right? The very recent game that become like really, really popular. The reason why I love the game is just because of the culture they're showing, and I get to live that culture, right? So these people, when they're making games, and I have the art book of a lot of games, and they actually bring this point up that they send researchers, they send their artists, they send like many people to that particular place many times, not many times, but yeah, many times in that particular process of like making that project, finishing that project. So historians are involved. If let's say I'm making game on history, like historians are involved, map makers are involved, you know, cultural like story writers, like novel writers, they are involved. Like all these people, like they have something to do with the history or the time period that you're making the project in, whether a movie or a game. You would need a help for them, right? And talk about budget. These people have a lot of budget, right? So obviously it's all paid, but that's what they do. So Assassin's Creed is love. Thank you, Saurav. Black Myth Wukong clips always have some Travis Scott song playing in the back, but it's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, they always. All right. So let's move on into our workshop here today. So what are the skills, right? I guess many of you want to know what are the skills required to be a great character designer? Well, all these things, and many more. I cannot like spell all of them in here, but here are a few of them. Acting, you need to be an actor to design your characters, whether it's a real character or you're just designing a animation character, you need to be an actor, right? Glenn Keane said you need to be an actor in pencil in order to, I mean, sorry, that's not what he said. Let me rewind that. He said you're an actor in pencil, an animator is an actor in pencil. That's what he said. So yeah, whether you're designing characters, whether you're showing a 2D animation, whether you're doing 2D or 3D, where you're just like working in films, or even if you're like your actor, like yourself, you need to be an actor. To be honest, you need to act like the character, and that's what bring that feels to you, right? Just like many people answers like, okay, the feel is the one thing that that captivates that character. Writing, you need to write your characters. So here I want to bring up like what my usually character design process, what looks like, how does it feel like what do I do? Um, when I design characters, I do this. In the workshop though, I have this plan and I've just like made this whole sheet of the kind of questions you want to ask to your character. So that's my analogy. You need to sit, okay? Imagine you're sitting in the room, right? And you're sitting, it's just like this, very simple. And here's a table, right? You can even like go a round table if you want to like go into analogy of like a round table meeting, right? It's like this. I need to have a round table meeting with your character, right? So your character is over here, whatever he looks like. Let's say it's a big guy, like there's a big character that I'm designing, like so he's sitting, okay? He's sitting right in front of you, but you don't see him yet, okay? You don't see this character as of now. As of now, in the beginning of this process, you don't see this character, and he's just like kind of sitting, and you don't see him, right? You don't see that character. Let's give him a little chair that he's barely be able to hold on to, right? We can bend this chair a little bit, right? Because it's so heavy, like that. Like that's the chair's legs. And then he's sitting, right? And at the top, you have this like a light, okay? There's this light bulb over here and just like hanging here. And that's where the setting is, you know. Arpit says it's just a random code. It doesn't make a tremendous amount of skill. It doesn't take a tremendous amount of skill. It takes a tremendous amount of time spent on the right thing. Uh, both, I guess, you know. I mean, yes, you know. The answer to that skill question is possibly maybe a yes, you know, you need skills, you know. But yes, exactly right. You know, it just takes so much more before actually start to design your characters in order to actually design a good character. So good thought. So yeah, actually I was talking about this analogy. So imagine this room, it's a dark room, you don't see your characters like a little bit. And that light bulb, right, that depends on the questions that you're asking, right? The more you're asking questions, the more the character is actually replying to you, the more it becomes lidded, you know, basically. So yeah, the more it becomes lidded, you know, for sure. So this is what it is. You're sitting with a character in a dark room and you're asking them questions. What kind of questions are you asking them? Where do you live? What is your name? Where do you live in? Like what kind of society do you belong to? What kind of status do you have in society? How do you earn? What do you wear? What do you eat? These kind of questions, you know, who belongs in your family? How many members are in your family? What era do you live in? What time? Yeah, what time there? Same thing. What place do you live in? Right? What part of the world are you living? Are you living in space? Are you living on Earth here? Are you a traveler? Uh, which era are you living in? You know, these kind of characters. How do you survive? How do you make money? All these kind of questions is what you're asking your character. You know, and then he's answering, right? It is just you answering yourself. We all know that. But using this analogy, it literally kind of like brings the character in front of you, you know? So as you're asking question, as you're replying back, that light bulb, you know, it just keeps increasing in terms of intensity and you see the character in front of you. Uh, yeah. So that's an analogy that I always use for my character designs, you know, especially when I'm kind of serious about it. I don't design like all the characters with that kind of analogy. You know, sometimes I just like push in, you know, like in my sketchbook, like I don't have that much of time. I just want to design like something. I just want to doodle something. But let's say when I'm serious about character design, when I'm doing a commission, when I'm doing working for a studio or whatever, you know, I would be following this particular, yeah, I'll be following this particular scenario analogy. And writing, you're basically writing it out also, right? So here, while you're sitting, you have this, right? You have this diary, like where you're writing it all. And you have these questions also written over here, right? Which makes it good, you know, makes it easier for you. So you need to write also. You know, to be a writer, I think that might be a bit, you know, he said you don't require a tremendous amount of skill, which means you don't have to be a novel writer or something like that. You don't have to be a Shakespeare, but just enough, right? It's just like you need to know what questions you're asking, what you're writing, you know, how he's replying, what you're writing in your book, right? Gesture, right? Now we are again entering into this like kind of a technical side of things, like a little bit of that. So gesture, right? Like we need to know gesture in order to make our characters. Anatomy alone won't save you. So gesture, everything is built on gesture. Okay. Like imagine if I start to do this and all of a sudden I'll be going over this by the way, and I'm going over like a little bit of gesture in the workshop and then and we won't be going over anatomy because I think not I think I'm pretty sure we have gone through that in the previous workshop. But again, you know, anatomy is a part of it. As you can see, it's much down there. But gesture is first, right? So this list is kind of like a hierarchical list, you know, that you want to follow. So anyways, I was just saying, imagine like you're doing these anatomy studies. Most of the time, your drawings are gonna become stiff, like super stiff, you know. So you might be like doing this and doing this and doing that, and you're studying like each muscle is like, okay, deltoid comes from there, bicep comes from there, tricep comes from there, this muscle goes here, whatever, right? It doesn't have a base to work with. Like imagine it's almost like you didn't set up a good foundation of a building and you start like furnishing your whatever room that you have, right? It doesn't work like that. So you need to have a very good base, you need to like design the whole building. You need to make the particular house like make look good, and then you go in with the interior design. Okay. So don't go for interior design without making good building, right? Same analogy over here. The interior is the anatomy, and the outer part of the building, let's say analogy wise, metaphor wise, it's the gesture, right? And all the other things also, not just the gesture, but it's like the one of the main parts. It's basically laying the foundation of your building with those all those rods, right? Iron rods and cement and whatever other things that are required to lay the foundation of a building. Okay. So you need to have gesture, which means what you need to have is you need to know what the gesture of the arm looks like before you need start to draw what the arm anatomy looks like. So let's see, I have it over here. See, I have the gesture of the arm, and then I start building it out, right? I start building the shapes out, and then I start to put in the structure right over here, like that. I'm kind of like summing up over this area, right? The gesture perspective. See, my shapes are there. I have like my straight curve design and everything, right? And there we go. So slowly and slowly, I'll build up this arm. Now I can put muscles afterwards, which is my anatomy comes at the end, right at the very end. I would have my biceps over here, right? I have my brachialis muscle over there, right? It's like over here, just like this, and that's my hand, right? So slowly and slowly, I'll build this arm, and it would be, it wouldn't look like overworked. It wouldn't look non-functional at all. It just feels like I'm flexing my muscles, then the bicep flexes and the tricep stretches, right? The functionality is what we wanted there. Okay. So as you can see, like how I went from like gesture to anatomy, but the anatomy comes at the last, right? It's the I use a lot of metaphor in teaching, so I usually compare it to the icing on the top of a cake, okay, or maybe the cherry on top, right? The decoration piece, okay. One example from Spider-Verse, compact, modern, slightly messy with posters of graffiti, art comics, mix of tech, gadgets, and art, school supplies with sketchbook. Rome feels lived in, reflecting Miles' creativity and vibrant personality. Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah. So it's like my room, messy. Like if you're, let's say you're taking me as a character and designing my room, you can make it like very clean. It won't reflect the way I don't know, my internal like day-to-day living, just like, yeah, it's a little bit messier now. What's the name of the brush you're currently using? The brush question, my God. I've been asked about the brushes, 10 times a day. The force brushes, I developed last year, I guess, or two years ago. So it's available on the website, I guess, drawingforce.com. All right. But it's not the brush, I don't bring in this conversation because I don't think it's a tools. It's just your skills, right? Like what it can have is, I don't know, I can take like a round brush, like a very simple round brush, and I'll be doing the exact same drawing, right? It's just doesn't really matter at all. The feeling would be different, that's for sure, right? The feeling of this brush is completely different from what I was using, right? I'm trying to like bring in much more of a traditional feel to my even like digital sketches, so that's why it led me to like design my whole like brush setting here. But the drawing is the same, right? I mean, I'm not copying the drawing here, but yeah, the feeling is the same, like everything is the same. It's just the looks and the experience is like a little bit different, right? Okay. All right. The brush question always pops up. Clothing, right? I don't know many of you know or not, but I recently, not recently, it's actually 1 year now. I've launched the Force Fabric book, How to Draw Clothes like under Force brand, like last year in October. So yeah, it's actually what's today's what, 6, right? Yeah, it will be 5 more days, 11th October is like when it's released. So it's 1 year, guys, congratulate me for that. Yeah, so I've released a Force Fabric book on how to raw clothes. That's the title. So clothing, again, very, very important. Coloring, yes, if you want to become a full-fledged character designer, you need to like what know what the color is, especially if you're in gaming industry. Even in animation, also like what kind of colors do you want in your character? So in gaming, for especially because the characters are so detailed, right? You need to like have the level of understanding where you can have like multiple colors in there, but you can still make it very unique and harmonious, right? So coloring, yes, you need to know that. Prop and accessory designs, characters comes with props, then I mean there's a prop designers, specifically, but not many places you'll find like different persons who are doing the same kind of who are like doing these different jobs. They're like these very big companies, like at the top of their game, like outside India, especially, where they're doing all these like creative work, and there you can expect to find people who are doing these like separate jobs, like prop designer and character designer, that even like clothing, yes, clothing person, like people who would just design clothes for the character, they're separate, for them. Mona May, like one of this really famous like clothing designer for the Hollywood industry, she actually did a forward for the Force Fabric How to Draw Clothes book, and she actually mentioned like her experience in the fabric book in the forward, by the way. So she was a designer behind like Stuart Little, like she worked in Stuart Little. She worked in Maleficent, she worked in Mask, the Mask movie. So she worked on like a lot of these movies, basically, by the way. Um, so yeah, like she basically you can find in that sort of industry like separate people working on these separate fields. But here, not, right? In many places you won't, right? It's basically the character designer who's like doing all these sort of things. So for the props and for the accessories, you are the one responsible for these jobs as well, right? So you need to know them as well. And presentation, right? Without a great presentation, you can't do that, I'm talking a lot about presentation, like the recent mentorships, and I was just thinking, well, even if you had like a great character design, like the boil it down, the message of this is you might have a great product, but if you don't package it well, again, using a metaphor, if you don't package it well, you can't sell it. Okay. Again, bringing that cake metaphor, you might have an awesome cake, but it might be looking so boring, right? You can't sell it. To sell it, you have to have a great package. Okay. Not just the package outside should be great, but the product inside should be great. So we are making the product inside great, but the packaging outside should be great as well, right? So just remember both. Force Fabric is an amazing book. Thank you, Feroz. Sudhindra said, congrats, Varun. Thank you. Skill is important than the tool. Yes, mystical artist. Um, Arpit, don't buy the Force Dynamic Love live drawing book special Indian edition. Please return it. It's a scam. My legal team is actually looking out for it. Somebody's just trying to like make money out of it, which is they're uh selling the photocopy of that book, via PDF. So don't buy it, return it. My legal team is looking into it right now. All right. What else goes? So, I guess what we are here for is the forced character design process, yeah, what's everybody's waiting for? So, here's one of the characters, that I designed a couple of years ago. Don't ask about the feet, okay? I've never finished it and I don't know why. But the client who actually wanted this one is he just wants like a close up, like till this point. I have ideas about it, I just know what the feed looks like. It's just not in here, like in this image. Um, Actually, I got it last month. Better luck next time. Yes. Okay. Right. So here's like one of the characters. Now look at this character, very detailed, right? It's a game character. It's very detailed. It's meant to be created in 3D and then rigged and just like work within the games as well, right? So that's what the game is. Game is still currently in progress, by the way. So yeah, hopefully I'll share with you guys when it's up. It's up live, and this is like my courtesy, so I can show it like no problem. But right, how detailed this looks like, right? Like there's textures in here, everything is handmade in here, no photo bashing. Everything's like painted here. And I have to actually share the video with you guys here really quick of what this character process is gonna look like. Yeah. So let me go into here in my folder. Wait a second, guys, just a second. Here it goes. Oh no, where is it? Catfish. Okay, there we go. So I need to share my screen in order to do so. Okay, you guys can see my VLC media player. Just
Not yet.
confirm. Not yet.
Mhm.
Yes, Ferb said
Yeah,
yet.
yeah. Perfect, perfect. It's there.
What happened to my volume here? Okay. Yes. Okay. There we go. I'm sorry about the flipping of this. I can't flip the video because I don't know what happened here. But I just want you to see the beginning of this. It's actually pretty long. And it's 30 minutes long. But you can see like where it all started. Like it started from, let me speed it up a little bit, 8 times. Right. So it started from this, like all these sketches, and as you can see, like really simple shapes. This is what I was simplicity I was talking about. Tilt your heads. Yes, exactly. So yeah, you can see like very simple shape designs, and you'll be learning all of this, by the way, in the workshop, in the 5-week workshop. Right? So very simple shapes, like how to start simple. And then, I used like different color to actually go for the clothing of this one. But you can see like what I'm starting out. I'm starting design not like this, just like standing straight like that, like from the front view. I'm starting that pose, I'm starting the character design with that personality. The personality of the character, right? Like he's in an attitude that's a character like surviving day to day, like in the wild, basically. So he's going to be dominant, right? Like he's going to dominate the other creatures. So the pose, like I know the personality of the character, and I'm going for it. I'm going for the particular pose, and I'm gonna design the character in that particular pose. And then if I need a turnaround for that one, I'm just gonna go for a turnaround afterwards, like after design, like the whole character, basically. Or if it tilted his monitor, that's good. So I didn't like the design. I was like, maybe it's like getting too strong or something. So, and I went for like a little bit of slouchy pose. That's what I think like the character attributions what I got, from the client actually is just fitting this more. So, so that's what I went for, right? Again, you see like the change, the pose change at all, right? The pose changes story, altogether. Maybe he's not a bodybuilder or something like that. That's maybe he's not doing this, what I was doing in the previous pose here, but it's this right here. So I'm gonna speed it up a little bit. Then you can see like I'm just using different colors. It's a very rough sketch here. And then I went for the line art. So this is again we're getting into this like technical realm of space where there's like the line art, and then what do you do afterwards? Let's see, speed it up a little bit more. Say 16. Yeah, and then I start with the colors and everything. So yeah, I don't want to like very stress enough like onto the rendering, but I just want to see the beginning of the character. Like how does it start? Like this is what the question all in our minds are. And this is, by the way, the portfolio question. Like somebody asked the portfolio question is like, can I put traditional sketches in my portfolio? This is what people want to see. See, AI can give you awesome renders, right? But you need to show your process. Like, how are you reaching there? That's what these people want to see also. I've worked on like numerous portfolios, like dozens of portfolios. I worked on dozens of portfolios with students like every year. And the one thing that I always try to stress up in those portfolios is like you need to show your process that these force drawings and everything, like whatever drawings that you do, the sketches do you do, people throw them out. Like as a director, if I would be, I'd be hiring, I don't want to see, okay, I want to see your final design. Yes, it's like to what level you can bring that in. But I just want to see your final sketches as well, right? So keep them in, they are the gold, guys, right? Keep the sketches in. So that's a whole video. It's 30 minutes long, right? So yeah, you can see that character, like that's how it's built. Okay. I have a um I have a few of these yeah, I'll show you too. Now look at this one, right? That I also like used to advertise this workshop here. But I started with this, right? That's my beginning out of yeah, out of like all of this. And then this actually, let me show you here. I want to bring this up, this character over here. It's actually a very simplified version of the one of the game characters that I did. It's actually this. It's not finished yet. But you see, like this is just much more realistic. It's much more organic. This is meant to be like for a game. So you can see how detailed, how cruel he is. Like he's crushing like these like animals, these birds. And look at the expression over there, right? And like how he's like holding that other like dead bird in there. So it screams like cruelty, right? Like that's what the pose is all about. That's what his expression is all about. That's what his intention is all about in this. And once you have this as your design, you can present it to somebody. It's like, this is the character. Then you can make a turnaround. You can make a static turnaround if they want it afterwards, right? So don't start your characters with just static turnarounds, just like a front view. That's not the way to go. Okay. You need to start with the personality of the character. You need to start with the pose of the character. And pose that describes it the best, right? So it's a simplified version of this one. And you can see I just simplified. I just took like the bird out of the hand and I just like put it over here. It's just like it's strangling it up, right? So I start with this sketch, made like a little bit of cleaner version of this one. You don't always need to clean up also. I mean, uh, you know, that it's okay. It's okay to present. And then I have these like little color thumbnail in there and just like put some colors in like very, very quickly. It's just like a very quick, I would say maybe sorry, I would say maybe like a 2 hour character design, something like 2 hours or something like that. Right? So you can turn up like a quick character here. Let's talk about this one, right? Now, basically what I'm trying to do here is like trying to show you the styles, but where they all begin, right? They all begin at the same place. It doesn't matter like how realistic it is. Do you use photo badge? Do you go into 3D and you want to draw that character, or it's a creature, or it's the prop? Where does it all starts? This is where it all starts. I guess that's one of the questions that's always in our mind. Like we see all these renders, we see all these awesome artists like creating these characters, but how many times do you see actually the breakdown of it, right? The breakdown is it's all starts right there, right here. Okay, it all starts not here, but it all starts here, right? Beginning with the character, like knowing about the character, what the personality is, like how do I want it to be? Now this one is like a kind of a random design. I didn't I made it like very I don't know, this is not a recent character design. I just like it's kind of old a little bit. But I began this character by like random, out of randoms, just not meant to be for anything. It's just like a random character design or practice that I was doing. So in the beginning, you can see this hen in here is it looks a little very innocent. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm very innocent, like I'm just like roaming in space, like making everyone happy. Um uh, Feroz said, directors want to see a rough pencil test or sketches in a portfolio because they reveal your fundamental skills and thought process. Yes, exactly. What I was saying. Rough sketches show how you develop ideas, explore emotion, demonstrates your understanding of everything. Yes, exactly. Yeah, director's approach, would be a very good term to, give it to this approach, director's approach, right? Top of the game. All right. Yeah, exactly. So, it starts with like a kind of like a heavy, not a heavy, very innocent character. And then I build it up. Now all of a sudden, one of my friends, he's like, oh, it just, maybe if you can turn your character, maybe turn this character around. So talking about my friend, he's like, and we were like having this challenge of like when I'm designing his character, it's like, can you turn this around? Can you have the kind of same pose, but you can turn it around? Can you have the same character, but turn it around, in terms of its personality and everything. So here we go, right? Like, this is what it is. And then, just like again, the cleanup and color and everything. So I turned this bird into a pope, who's performing exorcism, and I can see like the Holy Bible and just like oh, in the name of the Lord and the Holy Spirits, or whatever. I know how to do an exorcism. All right, and here's one more, right? So very different, a very different character. I started designing this character as a demo and like in the class. And it started from this sketch. Again, a very random sketch. You're talking about these temples and like how you can turn a tempo into a character. And one of the students asked me this question. I was like really uh intrigued by it. It's like, oh my God, yes, we can turn the whole tempo into a character. Right? So this is what it begins, what I called it like a spirit tempo, like tempo spirit concept art, So it's meant to be like a spirit like living in this tempo, or the more older they grow, they develop like more bells, let's say. I write it over here, all here. And then I was thinking, oh, you can have like different cultures. Maybe it's an Indian temple spirit, or maybe it's a Japanese temple spirit, maybe it's an Indonesian temple spirit, and whatever these kind of concepts are. Guys, can you hear me?
Yes, Varun.
Oh, all of a sudden my camera stopped working.
Yeah,
Just a
it's all
second.
black.
Yeah, just a second. Gonna turn this up. Uh, Sorry, my camera is shutting. My camera shut off, but no worries. I'm just gonna continue here until it turns back
That's okay.
on.
That's okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
We can still hear your audio, by the way.
yeah, great.
Hmm.
So it's gonna turn back in a minute. All right. So yeah, here we go. And then I was explaining again, like talking to the people is like, okay, talking to students and like, okay, whatever, what if it's a female, right? To see this looks a little female because it's like a little bit of curvy, And then what happens if it's a child? Whatever if the body's changed, Maybe it's the guardian of the spirit, but it's same spirit, but it's a uh yeah, it's a body, right? So let's see, here's a child, right? And see, they don't develop the bells yet, right? Because they're not old enough. So these are the things, right, that are important. And the presentation, as you can see, it gives us this like very ancient vibe, all of a sudden. So we would definitely like, want to present it the best as we can, right? Okay. The next, so hopefully you can ask any questions, guys, but hopefully you're getting, what I'm trying to say. It's the presentation and it's like the feel of the character. It's like all your experiences and studies. See how we are doing all of this in order to achieve all of that, right? And doesn't matter like whatever wherever it started, it all started at the same place, right? This character started right here. Oh no, not the I mean yeah, this one, but it's a different sketch here. See? This is where it started, Even in the beginning, I was like, oh, super cruel. I want this like very sharp smile, to his face. That's how I'm gonna bring him to life. And you can see like it changed a lot also. And then I went with the silhouette here. And then I find it more and more. Then I went for this outline here, right? The line art. And then I did another line art on top of it to show it's like the final version. It's this one over here. See? So that's the final line art right there. Okay. And clothing, again, accessories, I mean, these birds are now props to the character. So we definitely want them. Hmm. Okay. All right. So that's what the process looks like. I just wanna show the process of and mechanical characters, not to mention mechanical characters. See, I took the this thing here. As every Indian is just knows like what this is. So yeah, you want to have that as well. Let me turn back up my camera on, guys. Just a second. Let's see if it. Yeah, there we go. Just want to zoom that in a little bit. Okay, there we go. Hi, I'm back. Yeah, mechanical characters, right? So walrus and this mosquito, repellent machine. Yeah. Like so I just made that and turned that into a character. This is for like one of the live streams that we did on Force Fridays. So yeah, that's for that one. Okay, I quickly want to show you like a video for this character. Actually, it's this one, before starting to make it. See, I think it's this one. Yeah, so there's two videos in here. For one is a sketch, one and was the painting, so you can see like I'm basically focusing on the expression of it again because the innocent intention was, or the innocent personality was my intention, back then for this character. But then I was like started to change it a little bit. Then I was also thinking, well, what happens if that's an innocent priest? Hmm? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna take the opportunity for that raised hand, and I'm just gonna do like a exorcism, But for that exorcism, we don't need that calm of an expression, so we need to change that a little bit, right? I changed the expression, and then I changed a lot of things, as you can see, right? This is what the character feels like, character design feels like. You keep making changes, and that's why you want these videos to be rough. Sorry, not video. You want these sketches to be rough, guys. You can't have it finalized, all together right at the first because um because the thing is you need to change a lot of things. Your first design is not the final drawing. It might be, but then you need to do iterations. It's almost like you're choosing, like let's say you're going for a shopping and you saw a piece of clothing that you really like. But the thing is you might not buy it. You won't buy it straight away and just come out of the shop, right? What you're gonna do first is you're gonna see a lot of multiple options. You're gonna keep it inside the favorite option of yours, but you're not gonna buy it until you look at the whole store and you're just like, whoa, I just look at the whole store. But now that for the first one that I chose is my favorite still. So now I'm gonna buy it. Same way directors, right? They're paying you for it. The art directors, right? Like everybody, like the project managers, they're paying you for it. They want to see options. So that's why you want your like designs to be rough and quick and presentable, to a point where the clarity, the simplicity is like whatever we have talked about today, and you want to bring that in and you want to present all the iterations. You want to experiment. You want to have a lot of options for them. How to say make character as evil to heroic? Their intentions, their expressions, their shape design, and like I said, they would make them villainous or hero or male to a female or innocent to a child or to the proportions, everything. These things are going to affect the characters. Okay, asked. Okay, one more question. Why does line art look so good but lost its appeal? It's colored or rendered. It's always gonna lose its appeal, by the way. Not all the appeal, not the whole appeal, but some of them. That's what the clean art does. I mean, that's why I'm not a very big fan of clarity. Sorry. Let me take back. I'm not a very big fan of cleanliness. I'm a big fan of clarity. I just need to have clarity and cleanliness. I'm not a big fan of, right? But sometimes you have to do like when you're working on a project, you're working with a team, you have to do what the style demands, what the project demands, so you have to do it also. So I'm a big fan of clarity. I just want things to be very clear. Things can be very clear when it's messy also. So here, you have seen our characters. Like this is a messy drawing. Like I want to call it a clean drawing. It's made out of ink, but it's still messy, right? You see like all these artifacts in here. The silhouette is maybe not that good also for this one. I try to make it as best as I can because it's a traditional drawing. I just like quickly turn this out in a train actually. So I was in the train drawing this and it was an important job and I had to do it. But that's one of my iterations, right? Let's see what's everybody saying. It's like para-world parody. Is a mechanical character supposed to be solid and stiff? Does it require gesture and flow? Yes, here you can see, right? The character, without flow, like you can't do anything. It's just gonna take the life away from it, right? So even that's a mechanical character, you still want to have it, right? All right. Now, right at the end, what is that one thing that rules it all, right? The four shapes. And
Can't hear you. You're on mute.
oh, sorry, can you hear
What,
me now?
yeah. Now it's okay.
Sorry, I just accidentally muted. Yeah, I was just saying, one shape to rule it all, right? Just like I said, like how important shape is. Now, here in this workshop, it's an introductory workshop. I'm just focusing on one aspect of like what is one of the most major important things. There's many, just like story and everything. We could go all through that, like in our full 5 week workshop. But one thing, let's say after this workshop, you go right now and just you start to make those characters. What is that one thing that you need right now, right? Without the story, without everything. I'm not saying they're not important. They're very, very important. But that one technical skills that you need, shape design. And one thing that I'm going to introduce into the workshop is like how to use force shapes in order to tell your stories. Okay. So it looks like that. One shape that rules it all, like I said, it looks like this. It looks like that, right? It's multiple versions of this. Every character, this is it, guys. Curve to a straight to curve design. Like you have a straight, you have a curve design. This is what you need, to draw your characters on a drawing basic skill, on a technical skill. You need to have to be able to use these shapes, straight to curve design, in order to design your characters. Okay. So, and I'm not saying it should be tilted like this. It should be this whole D. Many of my years of teaching and in Mike's teaching as well, we have called it a lot of things, lemon slice, to a pizza slice, to a watermelon or whatever. There's like a lot of these, metaphors, but that is it, right? And there's these multiple variations of these shapes, like thousands and hundreds and thousands of the variations of these shapes that makes up a great character design. So it could be like this, could be half, you can just like cut it in half. Maybe it's a thicker shape, right? It's a very thick shape. Maybe it's a very, very slim shape like this, right? It's like that. Or maybe it's whatever, upside down, you can have it like this. It's a little bit like that as well. Now this, yeah, I know it's a curve. It's not a complete straight, but that's another variation of this shape, Again, we'll go in detail, in the workshop. But here it is, right? Another of that shape. So it could be hundreds of variations, if not thousands, variations of this, of this shape. And I brought in like a few characters, like from different eras and different, movies and shows. Um, my favorite characters, or at least a few of my favorite characters. So we're gonna see like how this shape actually works with these characters. So there we go, Lilo and Stitch. Mm. Very cute, very playful character, I would say. That makes sense. Shapes by Sauron. Yeah. So see, there we go. A straight and a curve, right? A straight and a curve. Right? Even if you look at the face of the Stitch, right? It's a curve on top. It's not a complete straight. It's a little bendy, but still that, right? There's one straight in there, then there's a one non-dominant curve, which we would consider it as a straight. So there's still this like straight curve design over here. Mm. If you look at the nose, that's still gonna get it, right? It's the curve on the top, but it's like two straights right here that makes up the nose. You can have like multiple straights in there. You cannot have multiple curves though, right? But it's two straights in here, one nose at the top, right? That makes up the nose. Look at the arm, like how simple it is. Hmm. Hmm. Wait a second, guys. My camera gave me a notification here. Wait a second, guys. All right, all good now. Yeah, straight curve design, and as you can see over here, right? Curve at the bottom, straight at the top, even in the legs, curve here, straight over here, right? Curve over here, straight over here. Even in the body, look at that, curve, right? But that's a straight, makes up the whole body. So if I put it right over here, I didn't do the face though. That's a curve, right? Straight at the bottom. Oops. Oh no, I just drew it on top of the character here. Let me draw it over here, curve over here, straight over here, right? So that is it, right? I just broke down the whole Stitch design, like within that straight curve design. And yes, it is it. If you think like we are forcefully trying to, no pun intended, but are forcefully trying to like integrate those shapes in there, no, that's not. If you actually, like Mike learned it at Disney, when Mike was getting trained by Disney, like he learned that. Disney was using this like all the time. It has become to it has so gathered like so much of fame, you know. It has become like one of the top uh I don't know, like the top one of the top skills like in the shape design. If you are a shape design master, if you want to learn shape design, you need to be able to control the shape and within the characters, right? Glenn Keane here, like Glenn Keane, this is like one of the drawings by Glenn Keane here, Tarzan drawing. This is one of the drawings that I bring in the mentorship, like every like whenever somebody's working on shape design, like bringing in the this design in this drawing and many other Glenn Keane's drawing, by the way, because they're very forceful, and then breaking down the shape here. So see over here, the arm is like a curve over here, right? The straight here, right? That's the shape. See this whole arm, that's straight to the curve. Now you might ask, it's like, oh, it's like a curve over there, but there's like two bumps in here. And you said, well, there cannot be two curves. Well, the thing is, they are different shapes as well, stacked on top of each other. So if you look at the deltoid, that's another shape over there. But then that bicep would be considered as a straight, right? Because of the functionality of the arm. Look at the body. You know, if I go over the body here, see the curve over here, but look at this simple like straight going through the back over here. And then another shape on top of that for the scapula right there. Curve over here, straight over here, right? Like that is what we want, right? See curve over here, straight over here, and then I'm just using some straights to design the knee of the character, right? Right there. Okay, you'll find this in like many, many places, you know, just like throughout the whole character, even in here, curve and a straight. That is no accident. Even in the fingers, right? A curve and a straight makes up a finger here. See, I can draw this like whole hand using this same straight curve design. I see curve here, the straight over here, right? Curve, 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 and the curve. And then I'm just like putting in straights right in the front. And then obviously it's a manipulation also, you know, using the shapes, you know, it's a manipulation of this shape also. It's not just like purely straight curve design. Like obviously you need to add anatomy, just like I mentioned there, that anatomy is the icing on the top. So you need to decorate this cake, you know. So in order to decorate this cake, then what we go for like uh some of the anatomical details, let's say on top. Like so I'm gonna draw this finger like that. That would be my knuckle, right? See right there. And that's still a straight. That's the finger going underneath, right? Then again, I'm doing this, like adding the knuckle, just doing that. So on top, right? Like I'm doing this icing on the top of the cake, okay? Like right there, okay? And then we are just like slowly and slowly, here we need to add skin, by the way, right? So I can show this, okay? And this like whole thing in there. And then we have like our arm going on in here, okay? So that is something like that, okay? I'm gonna show you like a few figure drawings here really quickly. Just show that I can, let's see, from the mentorship. Yeah, look at this drawing over here. Like all shapes in here. See right there. It's the curve over here, the straight over here, right? It's the curve over here, the straight is over here. But then I added the anatomy. I added another shape as an anatomy, like the icing on top again, to make this more organic, right? Because nobody's legs look like that, right? Uh, like nobody's leg look like this and this, right? And what do we need to do? We'll need to add like shapes on top, like anatomy on top to make it look better, right? See, there we go. So this is like much more closer to what like a real leg looks like, right? I can, we can make a real leg, but then again, see, just want to draw a leg really quick over here. You see, I'm just using the shapes again. You see, there's a curved to straight design over here. Then I'm just adding anatomy on top of it to ice it, to decorate it, right? I can still have this. I can still have this curve over here and I have straight over here, but then I can just add this anatomy later. Right? That's my calf muscle right there. Okay. So something like that. I can add another one, which is a curve over here, the straight over here. Again, see the straight to the curve design, then I'm adding anatomy. And then at the curve at the back and then straight in the front, and that adding anatomy again to make it organic, right? Just gonna make some simple, very simple legs over here. Okay. So hopefully you're getting like where we are actually getting to this. Like you see how important this is, how fast it is, to iterate with shapes. I can just quickly turn in very quick figure drawings, using the shape method, using the shapes here. And that is what's also going to describe your characters. Like you can quickly iterate it, you can make them dynamic, you can make them whatever you want, right? Whatever your character demands, right? Look at that. A very loose drawing, I would say. Very, very loose drawing. But look what's going to happen as I break it down into shapes of this. Right? So I have a curve over there, but then I have a straight over there, right? That describes this initial shape right here. Okay. Then I have another straight here. You can have multiple straights, like I said. No? And then this is how it goes, right? So this is a complete shape right there. You see this? The leg over here, that's a straight to curve design, right? Right there. Then I have another straight to curve design. That's another shape, kind of integrated. It's like a chain. They have another curve and another straight over here, but that added anatomy on top, right? So these are the two shapes again I have right there. Straight curve design, right? Curve at the top, straight at the bottom, just makes this leg. I can have the foot, with using this shape. So you see like how quickly I can just basically iterate, using these shapes, and I'm drawing this whole system. I know a system which is going to work for me every time. Like it's so dependable, so trustworthy. My thought to this is that more we get towards the supernatural or anthropomorphic direction, the more shape language takes a front seat both in macro and micro level to deliver. Yes, exactly. The more realistic you go, that the shape starts to hide a little bit, like starts to take the back seat a little bit. And then more stylistic, you're going more animation feel like you're going. You're just gonna bring that in the front. That's a very good thought, Sarah. Thank you for that. All right. So, well, I hope you enjoyed, this one. Mr. Incredible is the same thing, right? It's a straight curve design right here. This curve over here, the straight over here, right? Curve over here, straight over here, and the curve and straight and curve and straight. Right? You see how curve and straight makes up this leg over here, just like that. So yeah, there it is. All right, guys. Hope you like this, and hope you're getting, what I'm trying to say is like I'm trying to like give you a system. I'm trying to give you a step by step of how what are these skills on a mental level that you require? Like for example, like thinking about a story, writing about a story, having the feel, acting the character. And then even on a drawing skill level, like what do you want to have, right? What do you want? Do you want to have the gesture drawing skills? You need to know the shape, you need to know perspective, you need to know anatomy, in a hierarchical way, right? I'm not trying to get like overwhelm you guys about this one. It takes time, right? It literally takes time. But the first thing is the direction. That direction is what we need to go into, the right direction. Okay. All right. Workshop details, we're gonna wrap it up like very soon. For now on. Uh I promise for 1 hour now. We are 2 hours in here. So yeah, let's wrap it up quickly. So Kostov, you want to bring in some workshop details?
Yeah, basically you're telling it about it. What are the things which we'll be covering it up?
Yeah, I didn't write it up, sorry for that, but
Uh, can I share that write-up which you have sent it to me?
yes, yeah. Are you sharing your
Okay.
screen?
Uh, I'll share it with you. You have it, right? You have shared it with me because it's better if you can probably
Yeah,
give the insights about the course.
right, right. Yeah.
You know
So
it.
yeah, so no worries. I'll
Yeah.
bring that up.
So
Mm,
let me do one thing. So guys, first of all, we'll be starting mostly next week. Varun, I think 20th would be a better date because this week is like
mm,
going for the festivals.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. And whoever wishes to join, do contact me. I'll share my website link with you guys. Also, we'll anyway gonna be putting it on the Instagram, Varun and I. And
Yeah.
also we have the dedicated group, but do DM me, and I have shared the website link over there. You can get my contact details or phone number and email ID. So if you want, you can probably write it over there as well. So the
Yep.
details of the workshop will anyway be given by Varun in a while. But what we have decided is we want more and more people shall encourage this process, and more students shall be a part of this particular workshop. And that's why we have not. So the 5 week workshop is anyway, it's an extensive workshop, and you'll be learning a lot in this. And Varun will anyway gonna be dealing with you guys and giving you insights and feedback on every week's work progress. So it's not possible to give everyone feedback to everyone in every week process, but yeah, we'll anyway become cumulative and giving feedback to everyone's process in the fifth class. But yeah, in every after one class, when you'll be coming for the next one, we'll anyway be giving feedback to one or two students to he'll tell you what are the mistakes you people are following it up. And so in order to encourage Varun process and force drawing and everything, we have decided like we're not gonna be costing it too high. And the cost of this 5 week workshop will gonna be only $100, like 8,500 for Indian students and $110 for the international students, because although the regular price will be $100, but since you'll be paying via PayPal or something other medium, there's a separate charges for that. So it's just $100 or 8,500 for Indian students. And even if you want, you can probably break down into parts and pay it in 2 months. So it's really, really affordable for every one of you. And the amount of effort Varun will gonna be putting up in this class and giving you the feedbacks and everything will be worth of taking this workshop. So I guess encourage yourself for uh, enrolling for this, and I'll be very happy whenever I'll use to introduce any artist in my workshop. uh, More of what excites me is like who all the students will join this classes. The results they'll be bringing up after the final class or after the whole curriculum is amazing, and I always love to see those results. So yeah, and yeah, so uh, do join it, whoever wishes to. And yeah, now Varun will gonna explain you what are the details we're gonna be going through in this 5 week course.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, thank you, Kaustubh. It's a pleasure to working with you as well, as usual, as always.
yeah, yeah.
All right. So I'm just gonna quickly go through this, again, you can just like see this in over here. You want to take a screenshot, you can. But this is what you're gonna go through, as you can see, like it's how detailed it looks like, And just like I said, like I promised, every week would be a new topic, right? So all about character design, right? It's four shapes and appealing shape design. So it's basically the expansion of today's workshop that we went into, but it will be the answer to like all the questions of how to do it, right? So I can see like with the character designs, just like, and maybe, maybe I can squeeze in more topics in here because today we went with a 2 hour session here, so I'm pretty sure like I can squeeze like more topics in. But what I want to do, I just want to give you like a very simple step-by-step like process of like how to do it, and I just want to teach you all those steps. Okay. So instead of like having like a lot of topics, that you can't comprehend with, we will want to keep it simple, just like the character designs, no pun intended. We want to keep it simple, right? Simple and straightforward. Week one is all about like getting introduced to shape design, what the force shape is all about, how it is made, and then we're gonna use that uh to design some of the characters, like some simple, like very quick characters, right? Assignment one would be and the story as well, right? By the way, so you'll be choosing a story of your own. Uh, I haven't decided yet. Don't want to give like your own story. If you have some suggestions, you can drop in, but. I was just thinking, if everybody can work on a few characters, maybe just two characters, and then we'll see, like in the end, like how different people would approach that same character, right? That would be fun as well. And then you can just like go on design your own characters, like whatever you learned in the workshop. So I have to think about that, right? In the assignment number one, right? Week number two would be just complete technical drawing skills, right? Like just going in, jumping in, with silhouette and gestures and proportions and bounding boxes. Like how do you find the proportion of the character? How do you even start something, right? Like it's a blank piece of paper. Like fears like everybody fears of it. But we're just learning like how to just go, right? Like how to just go in and start with your characters, like how to start basically. So the week two is basically all of that and body proportions, how to use the shape design that we've learned in week number one and using it over here, right? And drawing and sketching different character silhouettes, right? Silhouette is a part of it. Week number three, faces and expressions. Yes, body language is important, but the face is very, very important, right? Because when you meet somebody, the first thing, or whatever, you meet a person, you meet an animal, looking at the faces first, right? Not looking at their shoes. So face is very important. So I dedicated just an entire week to the face itself, right? And the expressions of it, basically, character expression and everything. I'll be introducing like force techniques again here, mouth and my eye mask, right? Just like in the week two, we have bounding boxes. That is a very classic like force uh design analogy, right? And here, faces and expression, I'm just gonna to introduce you to mouth mask. Very, very important. Like basically how to bring force to your face, how to bring life to the face. Week for clothing, right? So you don't want like your characters to roam around naked, right? So we want to like put them under a clothing. So we will be learning clothing. I'll be bringing in experiences and drawings and a lot of techniques from my Force Fabric book, into week number four. And yes, we'll be going over the clothing and how to do it. And if we have time, you can see like how quickly time runs. Just 1 hour promised and 2 hour in. So if you have time, if you have still time left, which I am pretty sure not, would be not, but if you're lucky, if we are lucky, then we can just have some notes on the color and how to render things. But again, remember, it's a force character design workshop. It's not how to render workshop, which you can uh, just see on every other YouTube tutorial, right? So I want you to learn design, not the render. Okay, understand this concept. Design is important. Rendering is not going to save you from a bad design. Okay, you'll be focusing on the design aspect of all of it. Okay, again, like I said, I don't want to squeeze in too much topics that we are not able to cover. We just like see what superficially, and you just learn kind of like superficial level concepts. No, we're gonna be deep diving into design, right? And then final week five would be all assignments, right? So it depends on how many people would come in, and then I would divide like time to like each person of how much of the feedback session would that be? I'm pretty sure it's going to be longer than 3 hours. I'm pretty sure about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there we go, right? 5 weeks,
And also we'll divide the also the capacity of the workshop. Anyway, we used to keep it only 30, 25
Yeah.
to 30. But okay, even if people exceeds, we're gonna divide it into like 2 day or something, or one day in the first half and in the second half, either in the morning
Yeah.
batch or in the evening batch. So
Yeah.
based on to that, we'll make sure that everyone get the complete feedback
Yeah.
of 10 to 15 minutes per person.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yep.
So
All right, guys.
that's all, guys. Yeah. You're saying something, bro.
No, no, I
Go
was
ahead.
just, yeah, I was just saying, I mean, see how quickly time passes, just at 2 hours in, and now,
Yeah. So, who's asking? Okay. So, yeah, the classes will anyway be on only on Sundays, which is around 10 p.m. or 9, sorry, not p.m., 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. onwards, Indian Standard Time. And yeah, every Sunday we'll be having one class following up with the set of assignments which Varun will gonna allocate to you. And by the next week, you people have to bring in those assignments. And by Saturday night or by Friday night, most early as possible, you people have to drop down all your assignment files and stuff on a G drive, which I'll gonna share it with you guys.
yeah,
So this will gonna be the process. So Varun will have a collective review or something beforehand, before the second class. So in order to give you the best feedback over there. All right. Yeah. Anything else, if there, just ping me on my Instagram or this. I have given the website link, so just follow the contact details over there.
All right,
All right,
guys.
Varun. Hmm.
Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys enjoyed this introductory session and the kind of curriculum that we're gonna hopefully, you're gonna I see you in the workshop.